tell us about what does thriving mean to you and how has this impacted your well-being? Over to you, Jess.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Okay, first, a quick question. How many of you have watched the movie Inside Out? Just maybe raise hands. I can get a quick number. It's a Disney movie, animation.
I'm seeing a
8,
few hands go up
9.
here.
Awesome. Okay. And for those of you that don't know, so I'll give a little bit of context because it gives color to the story I'm going to tell. So I have a little boy. He turned 7 in February, and when he was born, around about that time, Inside Out came out, and it's an amazing movie about our inner landscape and emotions. And there's this teenage girl. Well, at the time she was a little bit older, a little bit younger. Sorry, she was about 7, 8. And you get to see her inner workings. And what really stood out for me in that video, or in that movie rather, was the console. So inside of Riley's mind, she's got these 5 base emotions: joy, anger, sadness, and disgust. So 4 emotions. And then there's this console, and these emotions are driving the console. And it really got me thinking. At the time, I was under huge amounts of strain and pressure. I had just got, and all for the most amazing, beautiful things that had happened in my life. I got promoted at the time. I got a team of people to manage. I got given a product to manage. I got given a budget to manage. And I had my baby. I mean, in terms of success, I had reached a lot of my goals. But with it came a huge amount of pressure and anxiety, and I had no idea how to cope with it. And I actually had no idea what was going on with me. I was unhappy. I was depressed. I was diagnosed with postnatal depression. Anxiety, debilitating anxiety attacks that actually saw me hiding away in the bathroom of this corporate building, for several hours just to try and calm me down. So it was really, really difficult. When I watched that movie, it made me sort of sit back and reflect around who's driving my console. And so when I think about surviving, I was so much in survival mode at that moment in time inside of me, despite the external version of thriving. And it really was profound in suddenly waking up to this tension between what was externally everyone telling me, you're doing so well, it's amazing, all these things that people tell us when they see our outward success, and inside I was dying. Life became very monotone for me. And when I asked the question around who's driving the console, I realized that a lot of the time, in a lot of the moments, the majority of the time, it's been fear that's been driving the console, not joy. And I decided in that moment, how do I get to that place of joy? How do I shift who's in the driver's seat? Because when we operate from that space of fear, and we're making decisions based on fear, because we fear being rejected, we fear being abandoned, we fear people ridiculing us for all the decisions that we're making, I suddenly realized how out of alignment my life was around who I truly wanted to be. And so I began this journey around figuring out, what does thriving mean? How do I shift out of fear or anger in the driver's seat to thriving, which in my perspective, it's joy. Living a life from a place of joy, what brings me joy, what fills me up. And I realized that I had to start with asking what's valuable to me. What values do I want to drive my life with? And how do I build a life based on those values? And instead of having 5, 6, or 7 of them, I decided I was going to pick 2. And my value system is curiosity and freedom. And then I figured out that, again, because I was so much still in the driver's seat, how I had to choose a way in which I wanted to show up in the world as a consistent reminder that I don't want to operate anymore out of fear. And so my way of showing up, the word I've used is grace. I want to show up with grace. And so from that point forward, every time I'm faced with a major life decision, I go back to my values of curiosity and freedom, and how can I show up with grace? And if that decision or if that choice in front of me doesn't align with curiosity and freedom, sometimes it's a really, really, really tough choice to make, to say no to that thing, even if it means outwardly that it's a sign of success. And I'll give one example of how that showed up for me in my life. My marriage didn't ignite my curiosity and my sense of freedom. And I made a very difficult choice in that moment to step out of my marriage. So sometimes it really does bring tough, difficult decisions. It's not easy, but ultimately at the end of the day, I am thriving internally because I'm living up to those values that I hold dear and true to me.